Part 4, Chapter 1. I was busy at the cafe for the next couple of weeks, taking on some of Rena's normal duties while she recuperated, so the home delivery service was suspended for a while. She wanted to stay out of sight until her shiner cleared up and her lip healed, she said. It was humiliating to be seen all banged up like she was. I asked her why she should be embarrassed. She was the victim. I know that, she replied. I still don't want to be seen. Her battered face was a reminder of what I had discovered about myself and what I had to do. I spent a lot of effort putting it off, telling myself how busy I was. On Sunday, I slept in and puttered around my room for a while, killing time by cleaning the place up, but eventually I made my way down to Rena's kitchen with a bag of garbage and the half-dozen coffee mugs that had accumulated over the last week or so. I had tea and toast and jam with Rena while she watched a British soap opera centered around a bunch of losers who drank and gossiped at the same pub. Then put on my jacket and told her I was going out. Whereabouts, she asked. Just something I gotta do, I said. Mr. Mysterious. That's me. A while later, I locked the tank to the rack outside the GO station and boarded the westbound train. While it rumbled along, I tried to read, but couldn't concentrate. I lowered the book and looked out the window, fidgeting in my seat, watching factories and malls and housing tracks slip by as the train carried me closer and closer to Hamilton. I wasn't very good at thinking things through. I'd never been a planner. Most of the time I found what was happening in my life pretty confusing, sometimes scary. And trying to sort out my feelings and my actions was something I stayed clear of, the way you'd step around a puddle on your way down the sidewalk. Maybe, I thought, I'd never wanted to look closely because I was afraid of what I'd see. Sitting in the swaying train car that day, lulled by the click-clack, click-clack of the wheels, I wondered if I had changed. When I made my way through the Sunday crowd and out of the station, a bitter wind rushed from threatening clouds. April showers bring May flowers, I thought. A dumb rhyme we were taught in elementary school that was probably supposed to make us feel better. I buttoned my jacket and headed for the bus stop, fighting off the sense that I was sneaking into town against Carpino's orders. The drizzle had begun by the time I stood in the parking lot across the road from Beth's house, a brick bungalow with a poured concrete stoop, just like all the other places on her street. I pulled up my collar against the rain, fighting the temptation to turn around and walk away. I crossed the road and rang her bell. There was a big flower pot against the iron railing, a dry, twisted stalk sticking up from the dirt. Last year's geraniums, I thought, like Rena's. I pushed the bell again, just as the inner door opened. Beth had cut her hair so that it was only a bit longer than mine, and the effect was to make her even prettier, even more feminine. Her navy warm-ups accentuated the light blue of her eyes. She had the friendliest, most open face I'd ever seen, but when she realized who I was, her eyes went flat, and she took a half-step back into the vestibule. She stood there for a couple of seconds, watching me through the glass storm door. Then she began to push the inner door closed. Wait, I said. She looked over her shoulder back into the house, then opened the storm door and put her head around. Don't come any closer, she said. I backed up, holding the railing, took 2 steps down. My father's here, she said, in the living room, right behind me. What do you want? To tell you how sorry I am, I said. To say I was wrong. Slowly, she moved from behind the door onto the porch. She leaned back slightly, then tilted her head in the way I'd always found so attractive, and moved her hand as if she was tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, only now her hair was too short. Coming here doesn't change anything, she said. I know. I could have charged you. We stood silently for a few minutes. A car hissed by. Down the street, a kid yelled for his mother. I have to go now, Beth said, but she didn't move. Yeah, okay. I took the last 2 steps and walked down her sidewalk. After I crossed the road, I turned. She was still standing on the porch in the rain, watching me. On the train, I saw the same factories and shopping centers slip past the window in reverse order. I didn't know what to think. I hadn't expected Beth to forgive me, to smile and bubble and say it didn't matter. I'd been ready for anger, shouting, insults, anything but the cold brush-off I got. I was bugged by the fact that she hadn't appreciated my apology, and at the same time I knew I had no right to expect anything more. I had to admit that I hadn't gone back to her house for her sake. I'd gone for me, to get back some self-respect. I can't say that I felt good about myself, but I didn't feel bad either, and that was something. You know what? Rena said 2 nights later, laying down a book of four kings and discarding the three of clubs. I think I'm going to get a dog. You could throw away something useful once in a while, I complained. I picked up a card from the deck, glanced at it, and tossed it, disgusted, on the discard pile. Rena was, to use her word, a builder in the card game she called rummy. She laid down her books in straights as soon as she had collected them, accumulating points as the hand went along. I was a hoarder, keeping my point cards in my hands until I could slap them all down at once and go out on the discard. Showy, but risky, because sometimes she went out first and left me with a mittful of losing cards. A dog? What for? Oh, I don't know. I like dogs. First I've heard of it. Yeah, well, I have hidden depths, she said. The truth probably was that she would feel safer with an animal around after a scary experience with Dell. What kind? I asked. I don't know. I thought I'd take a bus up to the Humane Society near the Sherway tomorrow afternoon and see what they've got, unless you'd rather not have a pet around the place. I like dogs, I replied, which was mostly true, I thought. I didn't really know. The next afternoon, I pedaled back to the cafe after delivery and found Rena upstairs in a room, on her knees, making baby talk to a caramel and white blob lying on a cushion in a wicker basket beside her easy chair. When it saw me, it jumped to its feet and began to pant. The stub on its rear end wiggled back and forth, and I laughed. Stop, Rena said. You'll hurt his feelings. The dog had a smashed-in face and deep wrinkles that swooped from one spot over its glistening nose to the edges of its mouth, giving it a brainless smile. It stood less than knee-height on bowed legs. One ear had been torn to a thin shred and one eye was missing, so it seemed to be winking at me. He looks like a fighter, I said. I thought you two would have something in common. Very funny. Nobody's going to steal him anyway. That's what you said about the bike I got you, and look how good it turned out. This is the ugliest animal I've ever seen. I thought you wanted a dog for protection. You'll have to defend him. I felt sorry for him, Rena said, getting to her feet. I can understand why. The dog made 3 circles in its bed, flopped down, and farted. I'm trying to think of a name for him, Rena said. How about Windy? She laughed. Or Patch, the one-eyed dog. Yeah, Rena said. Patch, I like that. Do you like your new name, sweetie? She cooed. The dog began to snore. One day, after I had dropped off Abe's lunch, I showed up at Lakshmi and Associates. Mrs. Smith was a ray of sunshine as usual. Wonderful to see you again, she muttered as she rammed a pencil into the electric sharpener mounted on her desk. I waited until the whine died away. I need to see Lakshmi. She made a big show of blowing sawdust from the tip of her pencil before running her bony finger down the open page for an appointment calendar. I'm awfully sorry. I don't see you booked for today. Probably because I'm not? Well then, Lakshmi told me to come any time, no advance notice needed. Indeed. Indeed. Lakshmi looked better than ever that afternoon. She greeted me with a wide smile. Hi, Lee, come on in. Just wanted to see you for a minute, I said. She laughed. Take a seat and take your time. I sat down, cleared my throat. It's about this money that Cutter left me. She nodded. Well, can I get at it at any time? Sure. How much do you need? I'm not sure yet. Okay, when you know, call and I'll arrange it. How would you like it? Cash, or I can direct deposit into your bank account? I don't have a bank account. Her head tilted slightly to the side. You don't? Well, no problem. What about a money order? You can cash it anywhere. Can you send money to someone else's account? Easy as pie. I just need the name and number. What's this all about? She held up her hand. Never mind, I shouldn't have asked. Thanks, Lakshmi. I'll let you know. See you then, she said. I got up and headed for the door. Then I had a thought. If I ever needed a lawyer, I blurted out, could it be you? Why on earth would you need legal representation? I don't know, I was just thinking. What, you were scooting past the office on your bike and suddenly decided you required a hired gun? She laughed. Well, have you robbed a bank or something? Nope. Didn't murder anyone before breakfast, did you? Not today. Her smile fell away. Lee, is something wrong? No, nothing's wrong. I just wondered. She came up from behind the desk and held out her left hand, palm up. Got a buck in your pocket? I fished out a coin and handed it to her. She closed her fist on it and held out her other hand. We shook. You just hired yourself a lawyer, she said.